I like this story. This one's a fascinating story to me. Do you want to break it down, Tim? And then I'll go into the details. How do you want to do this?
Sure. So I'll just introduce it quickly. The Maple Leafs captain, John Tavares, is currently fighting against the Canada Revenue Agency, which is their version of the American IRS, over an $8 million tax bill. So what happened?
$1 million.
The tax bill, basically, Tavares said that he should owe 15% of his signing bonus in 2018, which is just over $15 million. He argues that the bonus should have been taxed only at 15% because there's an agreement between Canada and the U.S. for a tax treaty that sets a lower tax rates for quote unquote inducements, which means signing bonuses, performance bonuses, things like that paid to actors, athletes, musicians, etc. The CRA, the Canada Revenue Agency, says that the bonus should be taxed at 38%, which is the standard rate for this tax bracket. They argue that the NHL's bonus structure does not meet the qualifications in the language and the technical areas for reduced tax rates. So Tavares is currently in a dispute with him, and the story broke this morning, so people are talking about it. John, why is this a big deal?
Well, there's a lot of layers to this. First and foremost, this is what we call a tax loophole. And for those of you in the States, Donald Trump famously was in a debate with Hillary Clinton, and she says, you don't pay any taxes. And he goes, you're right, because I'm smart, because I don't have to. I use the same loopholes as you and your rich friends use, and I'm smart. John Tavares is a smart guy, or his financial guy is a smart guy. And when you see a chance to pay less taxes, you do it. I do it. Everybody does it. You try to beat the system. You try to file your taxes as, smartly as you can. I don't know if smartly is a word. So when he files his taxes in 2018, his first year with Toronto Maple Leafs, his base salary, I think, is $960,000. So not very much. His bonus on that salary was $15.3 million his first year. So if he's filing that taxes, he files his income as $960,000. That's the amount that gets taxed 38% on, because he would still be in the upper range of taxes. So sorry, his base salary was $650,000. His bonuses were 15.3. That 15.3 salary only gets taxed 15% because there's this loophole where, okay, this is it's strange how you word it, but it's not a base salary. He could have been traded. That money could have gone away. He could have been sent down to the minors. That $650,000 could be adjusted based on where he is. That 15.25 is guaranteed. So that they tried to, the language they would use, saying it's different from his base salary. So it's only taxed at 15%. The last 40 years, that hasn't been an issue. For some reason, the CRA is now going after all these guys for their signing bonuses, which is a huge issue, a massive issue. When you look at every Canadian team, go through their roster, you go Toronto, you go Edmonton, you go Vancouver, you go every team, go to their high-end players. I just did it with Toronto. You can go to Edmonton, go to Connor McDavid's contract. He makes $12.5 million. So do you think his salary is $12.5 million a year? No. His salary is $2 million, $1 million. His signing bonus is $13, $12, $11 million. It's because he only gets taxed 15% on that. That's how they make it work by playing in Canada. The tax rates are so much higher. They're 38% and rising. But to make it work for Canadian players to go play in Canada, to make them competitive, they have to overload the signing bonuses so the tax rate gets lowered to 15%. Now the CRA, the IRS equivalent in Canada, is saying we're not doing that anymore. This is your base salary. That's how we're seeing it. So we're going to tax it all at 38%. So this just happened to Tavares this week. He wakes up and he's got a bill from the CRA saying you owe us $8 million just for that 1 year, Tim. Just for that 1 year. 6.8 in the offset for the earnings, and then another 1.2 for back taxes owed on that, which is bonkers because they just go back and reassess him and say, okay, you owe this. And then, oh yeah, we're going to put taxes on top of that. To me, it screams that the Liberal government, I don't want to get into politics too much. The Liberal government came into Canada into power, I think 2016. They immediately raised the taxes. It was 29%. They bumped it up to 33%, which is a big jump. And then they raised the upper tax on the 1% up to 38%. They're spending out the yin yang. My dad, I talk to him all the time, my brother, everybody who lives in Canada, they spend on so much junk, Tim, that nobody cares about. And they're just sending money overseas. They're spending money on all this crap that nobody gives a hoot about. And Justin Trudeau is just a celebrity in certain circles. The majority of the country hates his guts. Can't stand the way he runs the country. They've gone from, I don't want to make this a political show. They've gone from being the number one country. When I was growing up, I was proud to go somewhere and say I'm Canadian. Isn't that cool? Isn't that cool? They're a laughing stock of everywhere now. You like go places and hide your Canadian leaf. There's no national pride anymore from what I'm concerned. And that's because of Justin Trudeau. Going back to Tavares' contract, they are in debt to the yin yang. So I think what they're doing is they're saying, okay, these guys make $15 million and they're only paying tax on $1 million. We have to offset that. We have to get some money back in the coffers because we're hemorrhaging money to fund all these crap agendas. And so they go and they nail these guys. And the big deal for this is, yes, it hurts Tavares. Yes, it hurts McDavid and Giants and all these players because they're going to be, if this goes through and Tavares fails, he's going to be teed up. It's only $8 million for the first year, Tim. He could potentially owe upwards of $30 million in back taxes. $30 million because every year he's making that big signing bonus. So it's a big deal. The bigger deal is good luck recruiting players to come play in Canada. Good luck. Tavares even had to take a break in salary to play in Toronto, a hometown discount. If he signs the same contract in Dallas or Florida, his take-home salary of the whatever it was a year, 11 million, is 6 million, 6.5. He's only taking home 4.5 with the tax rate as it is. So if you jack up his signing bonus to 38%, his take home on an $11 million base salary across the board for his 8-year contract, it's roughly 3.8 a year, I want to say, on an $11 million salary, Tim. 11 million. He's taking home like 4. Isn't that wild? Everybody think these guys are just set for life. That's criminally insane. And so, yeah, it's going to be a huge deal, the outcome of this case. This will have huge ripple effects 5, 10, 15 years down the road because Matthews is desperately awaiting the outcome of this. He just signed a new deal that kicks in next year for 13.5. All of his money is signing bonus. Like all of it. His base salary is like $1 million. There's huge implications from this. Thank you, Trudeau, for ruining every Canadian franchise if this goes through. You piece of garbage. Thank you very much. All right. What do you think about this, Tim?
This is fun for me because I'm learning so much stuff that I didn't already know about, like the business of hockey. And like if you're Matthews, if you're JT Miller, I just looked him up. He's got a similar deal. Like if you're any of these stars in Canada who have this type of contract structure, are you calling your guy right now? Your
100%. Yeah.
Your lawyers, your accountants, all those things. Like, hey, are we about to get hit with this too? Because, like you said, it sucks for Tavares, but it's going to hurt for a lot of other guys as well. Because this is going to be a precedent now. It's not just a one-off thing. This is going to become the standard, right?
Oh, without a doubt, they will go through every team if this happens and say, okay. And I don't know how far they can go back. If they're going back and dinging him for 2000, I might get dinged. I played in Montreal for half a season. I didn't have any signing bonus, so. But this could be a thing where you go and you nail every player. I don't know how this is possible or how they can do it, but it's definitely an interesting tactic by this government to try to gain money. But we'll see if it plays out. I hope Tavares can win this because this would essentially eliminate any chance for any free agent to go play in Canada unless you want to go play at home.